We're joined today by Thomas Lippman, the author of Inside the Mirage, who has a new book coming out called Saudi Arabia on the Edge, and we're going to talk a little bit about Tom's new book. Tom, why don't you give us an idea of the inspiration for Saudi Arabia on the Edge and what you hope to accomplish in writing it, and what do you think you learned from the research and writing of the book?
Well, the inspiration for Saudi Arabia on the Edge was my sense that a lot of us have examined the past in Saudi Arabia, how the country was created, how the relationship with the United States developed, how Saudi Arabia's position in Islam emerged, all that. What we have, and of course, where the seeds of terrorism came from, that's been examined many times now, especially since September 11th, 2001. I thought it was time to look forward. I've been there enough, many times over the years, to know that Saudi Arabia is not a static society, but a dynamic society with a fluid social mix. And I think given the importance of Saudi Arabia, not just to us in the United States, but to the world, because of its oil and its position in Islam, I thought we ought to look ahead to examine what are the issues that Saudi Arabia faces in trying to be part of the modern world, what are the issues it faces at home in trying to manage an evolving society, and where the country might be going over the next 20 to 25 years. It's not about making predictions, but it's about analyzing things that we already know, such as the number of people who've already been born and will inevitably go through the educational system and enter the workforce, things that we already know about what the oil reserves are and what global demand is going to be over the next short to medium term, and things that we already know about the kind of neighborhood that Saudi Arabia lives in on the security matters, and things that we already know about the age of the rulers. And just common sense is to follow some of these trends and see where they're going to take us in the future of this very important country. So that's what I tried to accomplish, was to examine not just the usual issues about Saudi Arabia, oil, religious conservatism, women, but social issues such as crime and public health, issues such as housing. They have an acute housing shortage in Saudi Arabia now, the labor market, and even the trends in Saudi agriculture, which is still a big component of the economy. I tried to put them all into a sort of coherent view of the issues that Saudi Arabia faces and how it's attempting to deal with them.
That's quite a comprehensive view of where Saudi Arabia is, and rather than looking at sort of the anecdotal things, it sounds like a very scholarly approach to trying to make some assessments. Are there any 2 or 3 anecdotes of what you discovered in the research and writing of this book that you can share with us?
Well, sure, there are, but I want to object to your use of the term scholarly, because I'm not a scholar. I'm essentially a journalist, and I think there are plenty of anecdotes in the book. I want people to read this book, not to be put off by it. Yes, there are anecdotes. I had the opportunity to interview quite a few women who are making a difference in one way or another. I had the opportunity to see some things that people don't know about Saudi Arabia. Just to give you one example, I spent a day at an institution in Jeddah that's a combination clinic and training center, vocational training center, and school, and socializing expediter for 350 Down syndrome children, which led me into the issue of why Saudi Arabia has such a problem of genetically caused birth defects and how the country is dealing with it. That's just one example. I spent some time with a lovely woman in Jeddah who has spent the past few years trying to change the lingerie market, the market for women's undergarments and intimate garments, in which all the shop clerks are men and the women are tired of it, and how they're going about dealing with that problem. I learned, for example, that the Saudis are changing their farming practices because they've been using ridiculous amounts of water for farming that's not really sustainable now that the water supplies are under stress. Just to give you an example, you can go down to near the town of Al-Kharj, probably about 80 kilometers southeast of Saudi Arabia, and you can visit the Al-Marai dairy farm, which is said to be the world's biggest dairy farm with thousands and thousands of cows, and see how much water it takes to feed and clean up after those cows and hose them down in the heat and give them water. So there are ways to examine real issues on the ground, and I hope I found some of them.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to tell us about the book. We look forward to reading it, and I understand it's available for pre-order on Amazon.com and will be coming out January 9th, 2012. Well, thanks again, Tom, for talking to us about Saudi Arabia on the Edge.
Thank you.